I hope you like snow cones, because Mama Nature's going to be offering up some snow cone size hail later today and this evening across portions of the big country into North Texas. Let's talk about it in the Saturday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Well, good morning. It is Saturday, the 6th of May, 2023. This is the weekend edition of the Texas Weather Roundup, and normally I would not be here doing one, but guess what? Mama Nature wants to be a bit of a troll, so no sleep for the weary. And after hailers yesterday brought hail to places like Llano, where we had house windows destroyed, we had flooding across parts of the hill country, damaging winds and hail galore around Burnet. And today we're going to be doing it all over again, except we might be shifting things back north into the big country, North Texas, Northwest Texas, maybe even parts of Texoma. By this evening, we have a bit to talk about, so let's just get to the latest severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. We have seen an upgrade in the severe weather probabilities for today. We now have a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe thunderstorms, and that means about a 1 in 3 chance, about a 30% chance of severe weather within 25 miles of your location. And that does include Northwest Texas, the eastern big country, western North Texas, essentially from about Wichita Falls and Electra all the way down to Abilene, east to near Stephenville, back northeast to Weatherford, Denton, Sherman. And again, that is where the probability is highest for severe storms this afternoon and this evening. But just because the probabilities in the level 2 and level 1 risks are comparatively lower does not mean the severe weather threat is zero. And storms in those risk zones could produce exactly the same kind of severe weather as the level 3 risk. Level 2 risk includes the Concho Valley, remainder of the big country, portions of northwest Texas up towards Vernon, the DFW Metroplex over to Bonham and Paris, and then finally a level 1 risk. Level 2 risk is about a 1 in 5 chance of rowdy storms in your area. Level 1 risk is about a 1 in 10 to a 1 in 20 chance for rowdy storms in your neck of the woods. Did I say neck of the area? It's Saturday, leave me alone. And the level 1 risk includes the Edwards Plateau, Hill Country, portions of the eastern Permian Basin. You'll notice that unlike yesterday, this is probably not going to be an issue for places like Austin, Central Texas, East Texas, the Brazos Valley. We are going to enjoy hot and humid conditions, but the threat for severe weather is going to shift back to the west and north. Let's take a look at the high-resolution rapid refresh model for this afternoon, this evening. We may see a bit of a later initiation time for storms today compared to the last few days. We're generally looking at about a 4 to 6 o'clock development window today versus the 2 to 3 to 4 time frame we've seen for much of the week. The latest model data indicates storms are going to start firing off the dry line again, maybe 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the big country, northwest Texas. And once those storms get going, they're going to be in a very unstable air mass, certainly supportive of explosive thunderstorm development. Those storms are going to go from little bubbly puffs in the sky up to 60,000 feet quicker than you can say David needs a wig. And so, again, once storms get going, they are going to go very quickly and likely become severe with the threat for large, destructive hail. The threat for hail today, we could see hailstones at or exceeding the size of baseballs out of these most intense storms. Now, we don't have a whole lot of wind shear loft, which means we're going to be dealing with pretty high precipitation supercells initially that are going to be slow moving. Some deviant storm motions possible. Overall motion of the storms will be off to the east, but some storms are going to move southeast, some are going to move northeast. It's just going to be a hollapalooza, for the lack of a more meteorological nerdy term. By early this evening, maybe 8, 9, 10 o'clock, storms in western North Texas are going to congeal into a cluster. That cluster of storms will then start to accelerate a bit more quickly off to the east, maybe east-southeast. And you notice that this data, which has been showing this now for quite a while, brings that whole cluster of thunderstorms with maybe some hail, some very strong winds, and probably very heavy rainfall that could cause flash flooding into the DFW Metroplex late this evening, say 10, 11, 12 to 1 a.m., we could have severe thunderstorms moving into the Metroplex from the west with a threat for flash flooding from very heavy rainfall that could cause quite a bit of street flooding, the potential for at least some pocket change size hail. Hopefully we're going to be done with the tennis balls by that point, and also the potential for 60 to 70, maybe even somewhat higher winds. And again, that could cause some tree damage and power outages. So once storms grow upscale into a cluster this evening, the threat for, the baseball size hail comes down a bit, but the threat for damaging winds of 60, 70, maybe 75 miles an hour and very heavy rainfall that could produce flash flooding increases. And as you can see, this is what that model is showing this evening across the eastern big country, North Texas, and Texoma. So again, we're going to be busy in the stormy department. The overall tornado threat today is going to be very low, like the past couple of days. Not totally zero, but by far hail, wind, heavy rain that could cause flash flooding are going to be the primary concerns with the storms today. And as you can see from this data, we're going to start weakening after midnight. Storms generally moving into portions of northeast Texas and east Texas by 2 a.m., while weakening. So the severe weather threat will be highest along and west of Interstate 45/up 75 to the Red River into portions of the eastern big country, western North Texas. It's going to be a good day to keep an eye on the sky, especially to the west. In terms of severe weather outlooks for tomorrow, thunderstorm coverage expected to be lower. We have a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe storms. So again, yesterday was a level 2, today is a level 3, tomorrow's a level 1, meaning we're going to see fewer storms, probably. Though, again, I wouldn't be totally surprised if this gets a level 2 risk added a bit later when confidence becomes a bit higher on where we may actually see scattered severe storms. But just like the past couple of days, even if we only have 1 or 2 storms tomorrow, those storms that get going could have big hail, winds 60, 70, 75 miles an hour, and the potential to produce heavy rainfall that could cause some flash flooding. And again, we'll just have to see how that all sets up tomorrow after we get through today, because that's kind of the scheme we're in now. We have to play it day by day. These are more driven by local environmental factors like cloud cover, where we had storms the previous days, little ripples of energy in the upper levels that can help bust through the cap east of the dry line. So again, storm coverage for now at least looks like it is going to be lower tomorrow. And here's Monday, same story. Potential for an isolated severe storm in northwest Texas, the eastern big country, and western North Texas. The potential, if we do get a storm to go, hail, strong winds, heavy rainfall that could cause some flash flooding. And then that'll be the same story on Tuesday. From Wednesday onward next week, it looks like we're going to start shifting into a more wet weather pattern. We're going to have increased chances for widespread precipitation. Some of that could be quite heavy, and we could be talking about a renewed threat for flooding, including flash flooding, maybe even river flooding. Haven't talked about that in a while, but again, that'll also possibly come with the threat for severe storms. After all, it's May. We're going to be busy in May typically, and we're certainly living up to that this year. In terms of temperatures over the weekend, it's not going to be a constant washout, mind you. I mean, today's storms, yes. Pretty good chance of storms in the eastern big country and North Texas after 4 to 6 p.m. But beyond that, today's going to be fine. Across the rest of the state, it is going to be hot. High temperatures, 90s to lower 100s. Gusty south winds east of the dry line. East of the dry line, it is going to be extremely humid today. We're talking about dew point temperatures in the 70s, which is going to literally make it feel like the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. The horrid summer, the heat index, all that. Yeah. West of the dry line, maybe a little cooler, much drier, higher wildfire threat. Tomorrow, we're going to cool it off a bit, especially across the eastern half of Texas. Upper 80s versus, the middle to upper 90s, but still very humid, very muggy. Monday, upper 80s to upper 90s. But as we start getting into Wednesday onward next week, with those increased chances for more widespread rain and storms, we'll get cloud cover out of that. That'll help keep temperatures down a few degrees, so we'll start cooling off a bit. It's still going to be warm. I mean, 80s and lower 90s for sure, but, if we could stop having triple digits, I'm pretty sure we'd be okay with that. So with that being said, you can keep an eye on the sky with the Texas Storm Chasers mobile app, available in the Google Play Apple App Store. And as always, we'll have the latest forecast available on our social media platforms and on the Texas Storm Chasers website and mobile app. We'll have chasers out and about today, and if necessary, severe weather coverage later this afternoon and tonight. Y'all keep an eye on the sky, stay safe, and otherwise, you know what? Have a great Saturday.